As We Marched by Rosemary Watola Traumer. As we marched, I imagined every step a step towards integrity, towards justice, toward language that respects diversity. Every step a step toward equality, truth. I imagined every step one step closer to peace in our country, toward peace in the world. I am old enough to not believe in arrivals. I am fool enough to believe in love. I am human enough to believe in community. I am a scientist enough to know we need each other. Perhaps some part of me wondered what good it did for a few hundred people in a remote mountain town to walk together a few blocks, chanting, then walk back to the courthouse again. But tonight, in my body, I feel it, the trust in humanity that rises when I think of how we gathered and drummed and believed in what our country can be. My heart beats a new rhythm in time with belonging. This is what democracy looks like. Tonight, after we've all gone home, I know we're all still marching. Welcome to White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church, where we are marching in body or spirit together. I'm Reverend Jessica Clay, the lead minister of this congregation. My pronouns are she, her.
And I'm Rack. I use he, they pronouns, and I am the director of music ministries.
And I'm Kaz Burr. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the ministerial intern here at WBUUC.
We welcome you into this sanctuary, to this place of comfort and challenge, to this community that works together to build the world we dream about. We wave our palm fronds to you on this Palm Sunday, saying, you, whatever you're carrying, you are welcome here.
We come together to bear witness to all that life brings, the heartbreak and the joy. If you have a joy or a sorrow to share, you are invited to write on a slip of paper and place it in our meditation bowl or online in the chat before the opening hymn.
If you are visiting with children this morning, they are welcome to stay with you or go to the nursery or kids club after the story. In community news announcements, thank you to all who attended Wednesday night's community building meal. We had around 70 people here enjoying a delicious, delicious meal and having meaningful conversations about what this church and this community means to them. If you didn't have a chance to come on Wednesday, our stewardship committee is hosting a similar gathering over lunch today from 12:30 to 2 p.m. You're welcome to join us in the social hall.
So you could go for a walk after this service and then come on back for lunch. As many of you know, we are doing a process of envisioning our ends, our statements we want to make about who we are in the world and how we hope to be for the next 5 years. And so we have one last nested bowls conversation on April the 12th after the second service. That is 2 Sundays from now after the second service. So if you have not attended one, we really want your voice in the conversation, and you can see Karn at the stewardship table to sign up. And now I invite up our rummage sale co-chairs, Laura and Becky, for an announcement.
Good morning. Yes, it's us again, your friendly neighborhood rummage sale co-chairs, Becky
and Laura. You know, Becky, my garage, basement, and really just house are full of things I would love to get rid of, that I'm ready to let go to its greatest purpose somewhere else. But it's also, you know, some of it I will be willing to lend to the church, but I'd kind of like it back. So, if you are like me, we have the thing for you, the rummage sale. For all the stuff that you don't want, but is still quality, desirable, working, clean, and fits in a car, donation drop-off is Sunday, April 26th through Tuesday, April 28th. And one important note, please, please bring your adult clothing on hangers. This will make it infinitely easier for us. And if you're looking around saying, look at all the hangers I have, or the opposite, I don't have enough hangers for that, we're going to have a take a hanger, leave a hanger going on in the social hall at our table. So bring us your extras or grab some that you need.
Okay, now this is your choose your own adventure moment, so take out your pen or your phone and take these notes. If you have a clothing rack or folding tables that you can loan to the church, put your name on a label on them and bring them on April 26th. Or if you have an adding machine, you know, the old-fashioned kind that has the paper attached to it. If anybody owns one of those, we would love to know about it because we'll use it. If you want to offload those paper bags or those plastic bags and you keep meaning to recycle them but you haven't yet, we'll bring those on April 26th as well because we will use them. Or if you have a pickup truck and are willing to drive it, we could use your help with picking up a few things. Have a really fun item to post on Facebook or to feature. Take a picture of it and send it to that rummage at whitebearuuc.org. If you are willing to post flyers at your local coffee shop or wherever you hang out, we will have them ready to go next Sunday. So you can pick those up and post them. It's time to start advertising this. Also you can scan that QR code and it'll take you to a Facebook event created by our publicity guru. And you can then play tag with your neighbors. And once you post it, they can post it and repost it and post it with 10 more people. And we will spread the word through the neighborhood that way. And we're looking for a couple of people, or maybe one person, to help coordinate feeding our volunteers. So just coordinating it, not cooking all the food, mind you. Is that it for my part of this?
Yeah, the last one is if you have a house or a second property or a business where you'd be willing to put a yard sign that's in a high traffic area somewhat nearby, that would be very helpful. But truly our biggest need right now is volunteers. You know, we want your stuff, but what we really want is you. So especially during the sale, April 26th to May 2nd, it's sorting, pricing, making things look nice. You don't have to price to be super valuable to the team. You can scan the QR code in your wrap or come see us at the table.
Sale dates are 30th. Drop-off date is April 26th. Sale date is April 30th through May 2nd. If you, any way that you want to help, big or small, we can have you sign up back there and we'll get a hold of you to get you lined up for the right slot. Okay?
Thank you both. So I heard a clear call to evangelize about the rummage sale. Did everyone? I said it. Thank you both for all of your service and care.
And thank you all who made it out to the Music on Maple performance this past Saturday with Joyanne Parker. Here was a rousing success, and there was over 80 people in attendance, lots of joyful noise and community. So thank you all who made it out.
Welcome to church this morning. We begin with gratitude that you have chosen us and chosen each other. It's so good to be together. Let us enter worship with a gentleness towards what is on our minds and hearts, and for the next hour, be present here, to each other, to the music, poetry, and silence. Come, let us worship together.
Way to
Come in. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you need not hide nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together we make it a holy place.
My name is Molly, and my pronouns are she, her. Many of my most joyful childhood memories revolve around my parents' record player and my mom's fantastic record collection. We would crank up the Doobie Brothers or Earth, Wind, and Fire to clean the house and sing along to Shaka Khan or Carole King while baking cookies or building forts. I still love the soundtrack to my earliest memories. Today is Palm Sunday, so I'd like to reminisce with you all about the quintessential 1970s rock opera / Easter album. Any guesses? Yes, Jesus Christ Superstar. As a little kid, I'd dance in the living room using a blanket as my Mary veil, acting out the songs of Jesus Christ Superstar. If you haven't seen the original movie, there's a scene where children surround Jesus, joyfully waving huge golden palm branches in an ecstatic, song-filled procession welcoming him into Jerusalem. It was a joy I had never experienced in my stuffy Catholic church, where the Palm Sunday procession of the 1980s was measured and routine. I was a Catholic school kid, and I have a vivid memory of my first all-school Mass, the first time I went to church during the school day with my classmates. Everyone knew every word of the service, except me. Why hadn't anyone told me there was a script? I felt like an outsider, a stranger in a place where I was among friends. Spiritual crisis aside, I loved school. I learned that I had a little door in my heart, and if I was good, Jesus himself would knock on it. And if I let him in, which I must, I would feel an overwhelming love. It was an exciting idea, meeting a celebrity. I imagined welcoming him the way they do in Jesus Christ Superstar, gold palm leaves and all. As I got older, I let go of that image, but I still longed for the elusive joy of finding a church where I could experience faith authentically. I imagined worshiping without reciting a script to fit in. I still believed I could have my Jesus Christ Superstar moment, feeling faith joyfully and in community. I thought I found it when I stumbled into St. Joan of Arc, a joyous, defiant, queer, and liberal Catholic parish. I loved their vibe and the social justice mission, but there was one huge problem. I didn't believe in the Holy Trinity, the virgin birth, or the sacraments. And I found the one holy Catholic and apostolic church wildly hypocritical and deeply problematic. I knew I needed to keep looking. As luck would have it, I landed at WBUUC. Like many of you, I cried during the first sermon I heard here. It felt new and familiar at the same time. I wasn't expected to suspend reason to sit in a pew. And the sermons gave voice to truths my soul had been trying and failing to articulate for a lifetime. It was as if the little door in my heart had been flung wide open, welcoming infinite possibilities. Finally. I've been a member here now for 9 years, and I've still never entered our sanctuary joyously waving huge golden palm branches in an ecstatic song-filled procession. Yeah. There's always next, yeah. There's always next year. But lately I find myself moved to tears by the joy I feel when I look around and see all of you on Sundays. It's become a new spiritual practice of mine, to see familiar faces and recall conversations and connections, and to notice new faces and imagine the ways our church will grow richer, welcoming new people with new ideas and experiences to shape our constantly evolving beloved community. Today, I light the chalice in the spirit of welcoming each other joyfully, whether for the first time or the 100th time, with hearts open to the infinite possibilities we each bring to this sacred space. Please join me now for the opening words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its love. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Please rise and bow to your spirit for the singing of our first hymn, which is number 1023 in your teal hymnal, Building Bridges. We are going to sing this together in a round, initially all together in unison, and then when we repeat it for the first time, we'll split into 4 groups, which will approximately be, group 1 will be around here. I would just say this section be all a little bit thinner, so we'll have maybe this section be group 1, we'll have here be group 2, we'll have here-ish be group 3, and then here-ish be group 4. If you're on the cusp, you can just decide which side you'd like to be on. So let's start together. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, building bridges between our divisions, building bridges between our divisions, building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, won't you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we can make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, won't you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Nice job, everybody.
Now is the time for our story, and I'm going to be reading a story. So anyone who would like to see the pictures, come on up. Or you don't have to, it's totally fine. No pressure. The story is called Call Me Max. Who's heard of this story? 1, 2. Has anyone heard of this story in relation to Stillwater? Okay, stay tuned for my sermon later. Just a little teaser for you. Call Me Max by Kyle Lukoff. When I look in the mirror, I see a boy. I see a boy with spiky brown hair. I see a boy with white skin that tans in the summer. I see a boy with 1 mom and 1 dad and 2 goldfish. I see a boy who is transgender. Transgender is a long word, but it means something simple. Trans means going across, like how transportation means going from here to there. Gender means being a boy or a girl or a little of both, or not feeling like a boy or a girl. When a baby is born, a grown-up says, "It's a boy" or "It's a girl." If a brand new baby could talk, sometimes that baby might say, "No, I'm not." When a baby grows up to be transgender, it means that the grown-up who said they were a boy or a girl made a mistake. When I was born, my mom and dad said, "It's a girl." When I looked in the mirror, I saw a girl, kind of. But because I'm transgender, I wanted to see a boy. My parents thought it was cute when I put on my dad's ties. I liked to sleep in my Batman shirt. When they bought me a dress for my first day of school, I lost it. I didn't tell them I lost it at the bottom of a garbage can. I wore my favorite overalls instead. I thought school would be hard because I didn't know how to read. I thought school would be hard because I wouldn't get to play all day, but school turned out to be hard for other reasons. On the first day of school, the teacher called out our names. I raised my hand when she got to my name. She looked at me, and then at the list of names, and then back at me again. I wondered if she thought that my name didn't make sense for me. I felt that way too. "Can you call me Max?" I asked. "Max is the boy in my favorite book." She nodded and wrote it down. I won't tell you what my old name was. That's private. I had to go to the bathroom after snack. At home, there's one bathroom for everyone to use. When I went to the store with my dad, I went into the bathroom with him. When I went to the movies with my mom, I went into the bathroom with her. But at school, I had to pick which bathroom to use. When I went to the girls' bathroom, a girl ran out. She thought I was a boy. I didn't mean to scare her, but I liked that she thought I was a boy. I used the boys' bathroom instead, but when I came out, I saw kids giggling and pointing. I decided to hold it all day and tried not to drink too much water, no matter how thirsty I got. Making friends was easy, but everyone asked if I was a boy or a girl. I told my friend Teresa that I wanted to be a boy. She asked me why. "Because I like climbing trees," I said. She looked mad. "I'm a girl," she told me, "and we climbed this tree together. I also caught more spiders than you did." "Oh yeah," I said, "sorry, I forgot, but spiders aren't bugs, and..." Spiders are bugs, right? Anyways, "and I still don't think I'm a girl." "Oh, well, maybe they're not bugs. You all can educate me after the service." "I know spiders aren't bugs," Teresa said. "Why don't you think you're a girl?" "Because I don't feel like one on the inside." I told my friend Stephen that I might be a boy. "I can't be a girl," I said. "I hate wearing dresses." He looked down at his dress and then glared at me. "This is my favorite dress, and I like being a boy." "Oh, yeah," I said. "I forgot, I'm sorry, and it's a pretty dress, but I still know that I'm a boy." "How come?" he asked. "Because I feel like one on the inside." One day, Stephen and Teresa came over to play. My parents heard them call me Max. During dinner, they asked me why. I told them all about school, how I couldn't go to the bathroom, how I didn't like my old name, how I felt like a boy. My mom and dad talked to my teacher, and we found a group for kids like me, boys and girls, and kids who weren't boys or girls. All of us were transgender. We talked about serious things like bathrooms and teasing. We also talked about fun things like video games and books and toys. I don't know what our parents talked about, probably the same things. I told my class that I was transgender. The boys got used to having me in their bathroom. The girls didn't want me in theirs anyway. Teresa and I kept climbing trees and finding gross bugs. I still didn't want to play dress up with Stephen. Some of the girls in the group gave me their old boy clothes. I gave them some of my old girl clothes. Being a boy isn't better than being a girl, but being myself is best. And with that, we will sing any children or youth out to their programs with Go Lift It Up. Will you join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation? Let's take a breath together. We make space each Sunday to name the joys and sorrows of this community. This morning, we lift into care Stephen Freund and his partner, Artis. Artis reports that Stephen's myeloma treatment is going well, and he hopes to be home Monday. He's thankful for all of the care and support for himself and for Artis. I invite you now to name the sorrows on your heart this morning you would like to lift into care. May these beloveds feel held in a wider circle of community. May those who are receiving treatment for diagnoses feel held in this community. And this morning, we lift up a couple of joys. Stephen's could be a joy as well, that his treatment is going well. But someone wrote, I knew the songs at No Kings yesterday. Thanks, WBUUC and RAC. And we have a joy to share that Lucila Eccles got her green card. So very, very joyous. Our prayer this morning is adapted from Sidney Wilde. And after I finish it, I invite us into just a minute of silence, and then we will receive the gift of music from Harmonia. Spirit of life and love, the prophet Isaiah called us to center love by freeing the oppressed, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, and housing the homeless. St. Francis cried out, "Make me an instrument of thy peace." Jesus instructed us to love our neighbors and our enemies as ourselves. Remind us again, love that connects, that ours are the hands that must do your work. We are the ones who must comfort the sick and lift up the poor. We are the ones who must challenge traditions to bring about justice. Strengthen our resolve, we pray, to live out our faith as doers of good works. Fill us with the Spirit, which will give us both courage and strength to move out into the world and there to make a difference. Help us not to give into apathy and despair when the joy from yesterday has faded. Help us to hold fast to that love that connects and binds us together, reminding us that we are all responsible for each other. Help us to move in care and gentleness with each other and ourselves as we all walk each other home. Amen. Thank you all. Just exquisite. What a gift to us. Each week, we have the practice of collecting for our offering plate. This is part of our annual budget, which funds our work that supports our mission. And once per year, we do our pledge drive, which launched 1 week ago. Our stewardship team has been working tirelessly to connect pledges to the work of growing our souls and serving the world in love. Our campaign, Meet the Moment, encourages us all to rise to the moment we are in. You should have received your envelope in the mail 1 week ago. We have an ambitious campaign this year, but it tells the cost of running a congregation of our size. We are out of reserves, and we are striving to balance our budget and seeking to support sustainable staffing in service to our mission. We're also trying to increase our dues to the Unitarian Universalist Association, increase our funding around racial justice work, and pay an honor tax to local Indigenous tribes. I now invite up Kevin Mackin from our Stewardship Committee to give an update on the campaign.
Good morning, everyone. As Jessica said, my name is Kevin Mackin, personal pronouns he, him. First of all, thanks to all of you who have made a pledge to our Meet the Moment campaign. As we start week 2 of our campaign, we have received over $235,000 towards our goal of $1.1 million. Thank you, early donors. Now, we encourage everyone who gets something meaningful out of this church to add to those pledges. Those who have more, give more. Those who have less, give less. But let us all give our fair share. We will be staffing the pledge table out in the atrium through April 19th. We can answer your questions, we can accept your pledge cards, and we can receive your feedback. Together, WBUUC, let us meet the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you all for your generosity in this life we build and dream about together. The offering will now be gratefully received, and we invite you into prayerful discernment around your annual pledge. Thank you.
First reading today is by Reverend Christina Spode. Let all who are hungry come and eat. Let all who are needy come and celebrate Passover. Passover begins soon. The first Passover, when God's proverbial hand moved across Egypt and wiped out firstborns of the Israelite enemies, allowing the Israelites to flee their oppressors, was not an invitation to hospitality. It was an invitation to a better life, one that was free, but also began with mostly empty hands. I suspect not many would have wanted to join these homeless former slaves, feasting, we might say generously, on unleavened bread. Strangers they had been in the land of Egypt, but the Seder is an occasion for hospitality, one born of having found one's way through the wilderness, through the difficulties. It's a celebration of all things, the good and the bad, because we have to honor all of it to understand the miracle of this moment. The Seder calls Jews to remember that it was not always been this way, that oppression has held them captive. But not only Jews, for we all have, at times, been held captive by oppressions, even those of our own making. The Seder honors the past and the future, names the terrors and the blessings, reminds all that the pendulum swings both ways. So to celebrate freedom by welcoming all to the table, because none of us is truly free until we are all free. Second reading by M. Jade Kaiser. On Palm Sunday, we recall the energy of collective hope, the kind that cuts through the everyday, ordinary, oppressive lies and unveils their fragility. The kind that catches like fire, sparked by the courage of one or a few or entire community seizing a moment to make a righteous disruption. The kind that rallies the people into the streets, chanting the words that make empires tremble. Salvation is here, not in the distance. Salvation is among us. It will not trickle down from on high. Salvation looks like the humble, the angry, the oppressed, the weary. Jesus shows us what it looks like to claim the power given to us, boldly, in community, in resistance to destruction and in pursuit of shared flourishing. The chants echo across generations, expressions of longing for salvation that is collective, material, and spiritual. Like community that harbors and holds, like resources shared and redistributed, like proclamations that restore the hope of the people and lure towards other ways of perceiving, of living, of being human.
A reading from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 19, verses 37 to 40. Now, as Jesus was approaching the path down from the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of the disciples began to praise God joyfully with a loud voice for all the deeds of power that they had seen, saying, "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord, peace in heaven and glory in the highest heaven." Some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, order your disciples to stop." Jesus answered, "I tell you, if these were silent, the stones would shout out." As we have named in this service, today is the Christian holiday Palm Sunday, which commemorates Jesus entering Jerusalem on a donkey with people waving palm branches, shouting out, "Hosanna, save us." They were crying out for help. This pilgrimage happened in the time of the Passover, when Jews were traveling to the city to honor their exodus, to honor that they were enslaved no longer. The layers of this story are many, and often, depending on the religions of our childhood, be it Catholic or Catholic with a sprinkle of Jesus Christ Superstar, or something else, like many of you know I was raised evangelical, our own interpretation of this message can be fraught. Palm Sunday begins Holy Week, this time out of ordinary time. It's a week that is meant to be filled with reflection on our place in the order of things and where our call is leading us toward right now. In her book, Miracles and Wonder, the Historical Mystery of Jesus, Elaine Pagels implores us to remember that the time of Jesus was wartime. This is the context of the stories that we read today. The Romans had occupied Palestine, and many Jews hoped Jesus was arriving to overthrow the Romans. They were looking for someone to ignite a revolution. They used the Romans' own symbols of victory and triumph, palm branches, to indicate their hopes for overthrowing the military and ending the occupation. When reading these stories from 2,000 years ago, we're invited to pay attention to who and what are mentioned, and understanding that the context creates depth and new understandings, because the authors who wrote the Gospels, who wrote about the life of Jesus, were writing them long after he had died. Many historical scholars state that the authors of the Gospels did not know Jesus. So these stories of Jesus had already gone through an early version of the telephone game. They had passed from person to person, and when people, I'm just going to say men, were sitting down to write the stories of Jesus, they were writing them from the framework of wanting to convert people to Christianity. That was the purpose of them. It was not for historical accuracy. I know this is groundbreaking for many of you. So as we look at them, it's important to read them with that eye, knowing that there's this conflict in place between people who are trying to convert others to Christianity and between Jews who were trying to practice their own religion. And the ways that Jewish people were portrayed in many books in the New Testament are very harmful and have resulted in a lot of the stereotypes that are present today. For example, the Pharisee who tells Jesus to quiet the crowd. And so Judaism was going through its own evolution during this time, and the Pharisees had emerged as the scholars and interpreters of the laws of Judaism. And there were liberal and conservative Pharisees. And they were all bringing Judaism into a new era. And the Pharisees set forth many of the teachings that inspired Jesus and inspired the prophet Muhammad. So if we read the passage I just read with that eye and think about, I wonder why the Pharisees were asking Jesus to quiet his disciples, we can imagine with this context of wartime that people wanted to go and worship and honor Passover, and they were worried about the Romans silencing these pilgrimages, silencing uprisings. And yet, Jesus replied, "If we silence them, the stones will shout." Jesus was not advocating for violence or military takeover, but knew that the cries of a people who were occupied could not be silent. We turn our hearts towards this story in this time of war, in this day after protest, which had thousands of people who were crying out, and the stones beneath our feet bore witness. And this past Friday, there were conversations online about whether or not to protest. Maybe you read some of them, about who feels safe enough to protest. And here in the Twin Cities, our bodies and the bodies of immigrants and people of color and people with marginalized identities still are living through and processing the trauma that occurred here in January and is still occurring. Therefore, if you did not go to a protest yesterday, you are still welcome here. You are still part of this community, and we are here together. We gather here together on Sunday mornings and other points during the week to remember that we are all bound up together. And we are all responsible for each other. The people with more privilege will go to the protest, and for those who don't, we're carrying you in our hearts. We carry this thread that weaves in and among us as we move through our days, some protesting, some not, and we come together to remember that call to our deeper selves. This is the last Sunday of our theme, the practice of paying attention. We're invited to notice what is in our cup, from my story from last week, and we know the work of dismantling the patriarchy and white supremacy culture requires community. We come together to remember and grieve that we are in wartime, that life is not about pulling yourself up from your bootstraps. Sometimes it's about going towards each other and speaking up for each other, listening to the stones that are shouting, and bearing witness to what we need to give voice to. Today is Transgender Day of Visibility. This is a day to remember that if you are cisgender, which means you identify as the gender that was assigned to you at birth, this is a day to remember that there are trans and genderqueer people all around us. They are beloved and their lives are under threat. So a little historical perspective. 5 years ago in 2021, there were 153 anti-trans bills proposed with 18 bills passed. So 2021, 153 anti-trans bills proposed and 18 passed. Last year, there were 1,022 bills proposed and 126 passed. And so far this year, just 3 months into it, there are 747 anti-trans bills proposed. These bills are terrifying. They're preventing people who are trans and genderqueer from driving cars because their IDs have been taken. These laws make it a felony to use the restroom that matches their gender. And this attack on our kin is not just in other states, but it's happening here as well, and it happens on the local level. So this book, Call Me Max. This book was donated a year ago to the Stillwater School District. Someone on staff read it and thought it was alarming enough that they pulled it from the shelves and required parental approval for a child to read it. This is not just happening in other states. This is happening here. So when I say things like this church saves lives, this is what I mean. That we are a place that says this isn't right. And if you are trans or genderqueer, you are holy and beloved. And we are waving palm fronds. We could paint them gold. We're waving them, welcoming you in, saying, come in, beloved. Here we will work to affirm your pronouns and affirm your existence. This is why we are here. And we are not homogenous. UUs come in with many different backgrounds, and this country is so polarizing. And we come and we gather and we figure out how to be in community together to center love. And we learn new things and we're transformed by our relationships together. And still, we cause harm. But we try again. We apologize and we work to repair. This Palm Sunday, we have a chance to look at our welcome, to look at how we are welcoming and know that we still have work to do. We have invitations in this. I know that for many people, there is so much uncertainty in the world, and it's so human to just put people in categories. It's a much easier translation to just say the Pharisees were bad and Jesus was great. But it's more complicated than that. No one is bad or good. That is not our faith, right? I know it's a challenge. And all of us can still cause harm. But on this Transgender Day of Visibility, we're all encouraged to look at our welcome and to remember that it is up to each person to live into the fullness of their identity, whether it's gender, who they choose to partner with, how their body presents, fat, skinny, something in between, that our welcome is about seeing their humanity. It's about honoring their pronouns, never asking about their dead name, and not making any comments about bodies or asking about surgeries. And just to say, this isn't just for people who are trans, this is for everyone. This is how we wave our palm fronds and bring about revolution, because we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are shouting in the streets that what is happening in the world, what's happening in our state, in our cities isn't right, and we come here to remember another truth isn't possible. We are saving lives here, and we aren't doing it for credit in the afterlife. I was once attending a Catholic Mass, and the priest asked for volunteers to sign up for things like door greeters and cleaning the church, things like that. And the priest held up the list and said, when you die, St. Peter will have a list that says whether you volunteered or not. I was aghast, but I remembered it many years later. This is not our theology, right? Our theology is not like the generosity game that Laura mentioned in her This I Believe last week. We're not doing good acts in order to put more money in our heavenly treasure chests to be redeemed. When we die, we're choosing each other. We're choosing to believe in another world possible, even if we don't see the results in our lifetime. The stones remember and will shout for us. This is why we gather. And sometimes the work that we're doing together is quiet work, but it's just as important that we are coming together each Sunday, be it in person or online, or watching the sermon after the fact, to meet this moment that we are in. As you've heard, Meet the Moment is the theme of our pledge campaign, and our co-ownership of this congregation means that kids like Max can feel brave and live into their full selves here. It means that adults can come out of the closet for the first time in their lives and be seen and accepted. It means in a world that tells us binaries are the norm, that we remember a different truth. And if we have more resources, the primary way that we're supporting this work, supporting our mission, is through wealth redistribution. In my previous congregation, I didn't pledge. Some ministers pledge, some don't. There is no one recommendation, even though I still believed what they are for, and I had many conversations with colleagues about it. Upon moving here, I chose a different path because this congregation is helping to give my child a UU foundation. You are supporting her in this world and teaching her how to be in community. This is why I'm pledging, and that is why I'm increasing my pledge by 35% this year, which is the ask, because I believe in what we are doing here. This is why I give to the offertory each week. And I know I'm not alone in this. We are doing this work of holy relationship because our deeper call is to honor each other as beloved. It is hard work. We are human. I am a human who models apologizing when I cause harm, but we do this work together because this is where God is found. That sacred thread of relationship that says you matter to me, that says your very existence on this planet matters, and we are working like hell to build the world we dream about. We waved signs yesterday to remind each other that we aren't alone, that what's happening isn't right. We are not looking for an external Messiah, but we know that we all carry a piece of the responsibility to work for the world we dream about, that community is the antidote. It is hard, messy work, and it's what matters. We are all connected to each other's hearts. May we remember this as we go forth into this week and notice if we are waving palm fronds of hope to each other. Notice if the stones around you are shouting out. May we make space to pause and listen as we work to make the world more just. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn in the teal hymnal, number 1053, How Could Anyone? We'll sing it through two times. Please be seated for our benediction and our postlude. Our benediction is from David Rankin. Palm Sunday is found whenever we are serving a noble and unpopular cause with selfless devotion, holding to the ideals of truth and justice. Whenever we are seeking to uplift the fallen, to comfort the brokenhearted, to strengthen and encourage the weak and hopeless. Whenever we are working bravely and persistently in the face of abuse and criticism to establish more equitable relations in the world. Whenever we are sacrificing our lives in behalf of what we believe to be the service of love for all humanity. This is Palm Sunday.
Oh, the wind, it is a song that harbors through the winter. Oh,